The Media and Its Influence on Women's Identity by Velvet. General information. At one time or another, we have all double-checked to see if we've locked the front door, in order to avoid certain disasters, or have even had a disturbing thought pop into mind out of the blue. Most people would just go on with their daily activities, not even thinking twice about it. If you have obsession-compulsion disorder, these kind of occurrences happen quite frequently and can become distracting, distressing, and debilitating for some. The definition of OCD. It's a disorder of the brain and behavior. OCD causes severe anxiety that often involves obsessions and compulsions. These disorders can sometimes cause self-harm, thus interfering with everyday life. In females, OCD tends to appear in the later part of their teenage years and the early adult years. Females are more exposed and impressionable by famous movie stars, models, and ads featured in media. 5 basic types of OCD. There are 5 main types of obsession-compulsion disorder: washers and cleaners, checkers, orderers, hoarders, and obsessors. People who are checkers are compelled to check and triple-check things, such as locks and switches around the house. They are constantly having a fear that the household appliances haven't been shut off, along with the windows and the doors not being shut or locked. They have an irrational fear that if these things are not checked, something harmful will happen to them. Checkers often picture terrifying catastrophes taking place in which they are to blame. This leads them to come up with elaborate rituals which are time-consuming and hinder them from compelling daily tasks. Washers and cleaners. People with this type of OCD suffer from an obsession with contamination. Their fear of being contaminated by germs leads them to removing any possible contaminated items. Washers have the tendency to repetitively wash their hands and/or body, along with cleaning their houses over and over again, clothes, surfaces, and objects. In the end, they never feel clean or safe from contamination. Orderers. They are obsessed with fixing things in a correct way before the beginning of the day. They must reorganize and reorganize things until they are perfect. If others try to intervene and help the orderers, they become overwhelmed and upset, thus having to redo all the touched items that were moved by others. Hoarders. Usually the objects that hoarders collect are useless items that most people would consider garbage. In other hoarding cases, they hoard items of use to the point where they have too many of one thing and never can actually use all of the items. An example of this is sugar packets, matches, and stamps. In severe cases, one's living space becomes chaotic, harmful, and unhealthy for them. Obsessors. These people experience images, thoughts that show them causing others harm. The means behind these obsessions can be random or personal. Jealousy can influence these attacks. Beauty identity created from a male's perspective. In a class reading, the Disney princess Pocahontas was focused on as an identity misinterpreted by the Europeans. They also incorporated a woman's beauty identity by using a female supermodel's body and looks to create the character Pocahontas. Her breasts are very large and her waist is very thin, followed by her extremely long legs. This interpretation is also degrading and misleading, for very few people are built like that. However, being a children's movie, countries' societies were exposed to the ideal woman's body. Though the reading only focused on Pocahontas, all the Disney princesses have this build and look. As a female child, you wish and want to be just like these beautiful princesses, thus creating the woman's identity at a very young age without people even realizing. In my first link, this video is an advertisement for the fragrance Axe for Men. However, 3 seconds of the video actually shows the bottle being sprayed, while the other 55 seconds are of women running in skimpy bikinis through the terrain. The camera focuses in on the body and breasts of these women. Not only is it degrading, this commercial is only focusing on one body type: skinny, tall, big-breasted, and flat stomachs, where in reality, that is not how the average person is. This commercial helps build the identity for women. These women should all want to look and be like these girls, for that's what's beautiful. Where, for some people, that body type is not obtainable. This video is to appeal the men buyers, and it does by the exposure of women, at the cost of creating obsession-compulsion disorders related to body image. In my second link, Jessica Simpson travels around the world searching for a perspective on beauty from other countries, to then compare them to the warped vision of the American identity for women. In this episode, she travels to Uganda, Africa. The men in this location love and admire large women. In the beginning of this video, the men actually told Jessica Simpson that she's way too skinny and she needs to be fattened up. The woman in Uganda gets sent into a fattening hut 2 months before marriage. In this hut, they are to drink 5 gourds of milk a day with no activity to ensure they gain lots of weight. That's roughly 5,000 calories. They do this to please their man and so that they are attractive in the community, much like the women here in America. They are being obligated to be thin, for that's what's perceived as beautiful, this causing many odd cases of OCD. Some examples of this are extreme exercise, extreme diets, extreme plastic surgeries, and extreme medications. Sexuality in advertisements. In all of these photo advertisements, the women are either in a sexual position or sexually exposed with their body. Not only is that happening, but it's followed by a sexual slang or advertisement shown in text. My next video is a series of photos from advertisements. In all of these photos, advertisements have sexual orientation towards women and show male dominance along with the sexuality. The women in these ads are all skinny and have large breasts. The magazines that the ads are in are mainly read by women, thus forcing the physical identity upon them. Breast augmentation procedures have gone up from 2000 to 2009 by 36%, and tummy tucks have gone up by 84%. Why? Because the images the media portrays are romanticized by both females and males. Now, how did these two things connect, OCD and beauty? In the 3 previous videos that you just watched, you witnessed some extreme media advertisements that led to cases of obsession-compulsion disorder, while also witnessing an entire different perspective on beauty from Uganda. Women and teens are now at the higher rate than they have ever been before with eating disorders and plastic surgeries. Females have become so overly obsessed with their physical appearance because of the societies they live in. From living and learning from media, these women's perspectives on reality is no longer real. However, their search for perfection is never ending. What will need to happen in order for women to feel beautiful? I think the American society's perspective is so warped that it's partially to blame for all these bizarre cases of OCD here in North America. We have severely damaged these females' confidence and body image. Not only have these women in these ads sacrificed their integrity, but they have helped create an unattainable identity/body image for all women. The impact the media has had on youth is astonishing. If something is not done, the next generations are destined for failure and a life full of self-destruction. We are criticized without even noticing through tabloids, magazines, TV shows, advertisements, and commercials. It's not right and it needs to change. Treatments and medication. There are many different therapies you can take depending on your specific type of OCD. Therapy is highly recommended at the beginning of OCD diagnosis. Experimental drugs. The natural sugar, inositol, has been suggested treatment for OCD patients. Inositol seems to regulate the action of serotonin, which is a hormone. Serotonin acts as a chemical messenger that transmits nerve signals between nerve cells. This can occur in the brain, digestive tract, blood platelets, and pineal gland. When serotonin levels change in your brain, it can alter your mood, therefore bringing forth OCD symptoms. Having lack of serotonin is what can cause OCD symptoms. The drug inositol is there to boost those levels of serotonin, which will improve the mood and reduce anxiety. The Duke University-led psychiatrists believe that behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and medication should be the first response of treatment for OCD patients, along with psychodynamic and psychotherapy. Behavioral therapy is a psychological technique that can help people control negative thoughts and plans. Cognitive behavioral therapy is the cognitive therapy that helps patients cope and deal with depression, anxieties, and phobias in a healthy and safe manner. Exploration and inquiry. Some questions and concerns I have are, what are teens going to be like 20 years from now? Because as of now, lots of teens already have zero self-respect and many body image disorders from the media. Is the media ever going to stop portraying women in ads sexually? Are they ever going to stop making women the weaker sex? Will more cases of OCD pop up with diets, Botox, and breast augmentations? If I could do more research, I would like to focus on teens and do case studies on females that struggle with OCD relating to body image. I personally think that this presentation has made me have a greater understanding of how explicit the media is with women and their bodies. They manipulate males and females into believing that one body type is the only one idolized. I now notice ads a lot more and cartoon characters who have edited body types or ridiculous body types that are not humanly possible. Finally, I have one link to another short video. This video is a parody for the future teens and parents of the next 20 years generation. Is this what the future holds for us? Thank you.